All right, here we go. So this is just a drawing I did for a show at some point. And what I want to talk about today is ultimately how you share this with someone, because you aren't really gonna, you don't really send people the DWG files unless they need to edit it or make changes to it or something. If you're just sending somebody the drawing so that they know like what you're gonna do, you really want to do something different. And this is called plotting. We use the term plotting in AutoCAD because usually when we're doing with AutoCAD, it's big pieces of paper that, and I told you about the olden times with the pen plotters and stuff like that. So that term plotting, you'll still see that used in AutoCAD, although you will see the term print show up now in some of the newer versions of AutoCAD. But when I will probably say the term plotting more often than I will say printing, just because I'm old and that's what it was called when I learned AutoCAD. Okay, but it is also called printing. Now, the way this works is, so far we've done everything in what is called model space. Okay, and model space is this area where you've been drawing all your lines and stuff. Okay. But if you look down here in the bottom of your AutoCAD window, you see there is this little tab that's been there all along called Model. And maybe you've never noticed it before, maybe you have and wondered what's that about. Well, that's just the tab where your model space is accessed. But you will also get, with pretty much every, I think it's probably the default AutoCAD template, is you get these two other tabs called Layout. And then you get this little plus sign where you can add more layouts. Okay, now layout is where you get to what we call paper space. So I can just go to layout 1, and here is a paper space view. So you can see I've got like a sheet of paper. If you right click on that layout tab, you get what's called a page setup. And this is where you can decide what sort of paper you're going to put this on. What is this thing? Let's see if I can add the printer that's here in this room. Well, I probably can't because I'm not connected to the network. I bet I could fix that. You're not using this, right?
No.
All right, let's see if I got an IP address.
Everything okay?
Hey. Yeah.
You just had that look like I have on my face a lot, like, why isn't this working?
No. Well, I'm about to get there. I'm gonna try to make a piece of paper come out of that thing.
Oh, it should. I printed out to them all myself from in here.
Yeah. We'll
But
see.
If it doesn't, let me know because we'll have IT look at it.
All right. I think we'll be good.
It is accent printing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you talking about? All right. Let's see if I can add this thing. This thing is a Lexmark something or other. CS921. Yeah.
Do you want us to open like a random file so you can see what you're looking at? You just want us to watch?
Yeah, you can open up one of your drawings that you've done if you want to be able to do stuff. Hey, there, found it. Protocol. I don't know. Maybe IPP, would that work? It looks like AirPrint actually works. All right, we'll do that. Hey, okay, it works. All right. So now let me pull this up again and see if I can see it. There it is. Okay. So it's defaulting to 8.5 by 11 or letter size paper. There's very few things that you're going to be able to fit on that size paper, but every once in a while. I think most of the stuff that we're going to do with sound stuff is going to be what's called tabloid, which is an 11 by 17. I think that's probably going to use most. So I'll go ahead and put that on there. There's this thing called the plot style. And this is where you decide basically how much you care about color. And for something like this, a system diagram, I don't care about color. So I'm going to set it to monochrome, and you're going to print. When you print it, it's going to use that plot style, and I would like it to display that plot style as well, so I can see what it's going to look like. Okay, so there. Now the size of the page has gotten bigger now, and you can see the drawing. Now what this is this is called a viewport, and it's automatically made one. And a viewport is it's like a window that looks into model space to see where your drawing is. And you can erase that just like you can erase any object, and you can make another one if you want. So I'm going to make a new layer here and call it viewports, just so that I will make that the active layer, and I'll change the color of that to, okay. So the command is viewport, and I'm going to do a single viewport, and you can just kind of make it, you want it to be inside the dotted lines. The dotted lines represent the printable area for the printer, okay? So there it is. And then if you double click on the viewport, now you're in model space, okay? And you can pan and zoom around just like you could in Thing. And what you're looking for is you want to, position your window or your viewport into the thing that you want to have show up on the page. In this case, I only have one drawing in this model space, but on more complicated projects, you might have multiple drawings inside of model space of different things. So this is about panning and zooming in on the thing that you want to have be on this piece of paper. So I'm going to just do zoom extents, and then you can double click outside of that viewport to get back into paper space. You can also toggle, there's a button down here next to the grid lines where you can just say toggle between model space and paper space. Right? And let's see what happens. Looking at this now, I probably need this on a bigger sheet of paper because my labels are too small. But if you would like to, take a look. My mother does not remember. Oh. She says it will be on your birth certificate, and I gave that to you a long time ago. So.
Fix it yourself. I don't care.
Okay. All right. So that's the basic idea. Should I try to? Well, no, I won't. I won't do it on all. I'll do it on a big one in a minute. Okay. So what you might want to do someday is, let's see. Yeah. You might, and most of the time you probably will. I'm going to go ahead and erase this for now. You're probably going to want what we call a title block. Okay, and a title block is a little, block of text and stuff that has some labels that says what this thing is, just information about what the drawing is and what the project's related to, and page numbers, because it might be part of a multiple page project, and it's called a title block. Now let me show you how I will do this. I'm going to go insert a block, okay? And a block is just it's just another AutoCAD drawing, basically. And it opens up this little blocks view. And if you go to this DWG thing, you'll see I've got some blocks in here that I've been playing around with. But I'm going to click this first button. It says Browse to insert a drawing as a block into a current drawing. So I'm going to go and get this. Let's go to here. Yep, it's this one. Okay, and I get this little thing, and I'm going to stick it there. Okay, and look what it does. It asks me things. What is the drawing number? 1. How many drawings are there? 1. The drawing title, this is the system diagram for A Little Night Music.
Do you want all caps?
Usually in drafting you do all caps. Theater name was Stevens Center. I'm the designer. There is no scale. The one thing to notice here is I've made my questions far too long. They're getting cut off here. It's automatically pulling up today's date, and it's automatically pulling up the name of the drawing file, which is very important, and that we are at the UNC School of the Arts. So I hit confirm, and it automatically puts all that info in there. And then what I can do is I can redraw my viewport, and I will do a single viewport, and I'm going to object snap track off of the edge of this thing to then fill the rest of that page. And now I will zoom extents into there. And now let's see what happens. What's that?
It's not centered on.
Yeah, I'll fix that later. There you go. So, how did I do that? You might be asking. Now we get to the assignment. So you're going to make some title blocks today, or this week. And I want you to make 3 different ones. I want you to make one that would fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, one that would fit on an 11 by 17, and one that would fit on a 18 by 24, I think is what I asked for. Is that what I asked for? No, 24 by...
26.
I was supposed to say 36. That's a mistake. Oh, there it is, 36 there.
Okay.
24 by 36. That's a mistake. I'll fix that. 24 by 36. So let me show you how this is done. Go ahead and close this. I'll leave it open for now, actually. So here's a new drawing file. Okay. And this is where, to some extent, you can use a little bit of, your own flair to this. Okay. there are some standards. USITT does have some documentation. You can look it up if you want to about sort of how title blocks ought to look and or what information ought to be in them. But you basically have two options. You can do a one that's like that, like a rectangular one that's over in like the bottom right corner of the page, or you can do one like this one that I did, which is where you're just doing like a little strip along the whole side of the page. I like that just because I feel like it, for the kinds of drawings that we do, it's less obtrusive into the drawing. I can kind of like make this and not have to worry about how I fit that title block into it. But then you have to ask yourself the question, like, how do you want to read this? Do you want to be looking at the drawing like this and then have to turn it this way to read that title block? Or do you want to set up a title block like this, but design it so all the text is flipped, right? That's up to you. You can decide how you want to do that. The only thing I would say is if you do this right, you'll never have to do it again. This title block I have been using for 23 years. I updated it 4 years ago for the first time ever, when I was going to use it to teach this class, and I thought, oh, I should probably look at that again. And I made just some minor tweaks to it. But once you do it, you never really have to do it again. So the first thing to know is this printer is pretty good in that it's got really small margins on it, which means the printable area is really large. It can fill almost the entire page all the way to the edge. But not all printers are like that. And so if we just go in and start doing this, I'm going to, you want to make a few layers here. This layer is going to be, I'm going to call this the border with my initials. And you kind of want to give yourself, rule of thumb would be like a 1/2 inch all the way around, just because not all printers can print all the way to the edge. So if you just draw a rectangle, and if this was going to be my 8.5 by 11 border, or my title block, then I would start at 0, 0. And what size of rectangle would give me a 1/2 inch all the way around on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper?
7 by 10, or 7 by 10. 10. Is that 1.5 inches or half?
Oh, inch.
1/2 inch all the way around.
8 by 10.5.
So if I did 8, then I would only have a 1/4 inch top to bottom, right? Because you split it across both sides, right? So if the sheet of paper, like this is sheet of paper. So if the 8.5 is like this, and I want a box that will leave me a 1/2 inch on either side, and this is 8.5 inches, then I really need to do 7.5 inches tall for my box so that I've got a 1/2 inch on either side, right? And then so it'd be 7.5 by 10, right? So I'm going to do 10, 7 at 0.5. So that's probably, just as a rule of thumb goes, about the size you're going to be looking at, okay? So now you got to decide, well, how much space do I really want to take up over here for this?
So it was 7.5 by.
I did 7.5 by 10. So what would it look like if I gave myself an inch for this thing? Oops. That's not going to be a lot, is it? I'm going to move that another 1/2 inch. All right, we'll do that. And so what you want to do is you just kind of want to start laying things out here. So I'm just going to start making a little grid. I'll make a little square here for my page number. And I'm going to divide this section in half. So let me just get a little line, a working line right there that I can get a midpoint. Be about there. And I'll do a line there. And I think I might need to subdivide this one even further. I'm not overthinking this. I'm just trying to create some spaces where I can put things. And if I need to change it later, I can.
How wide did you make it again?
I made this 1.5 inches, but you know,
Was that added on to the rectangle?
no, it has to be inside of it.
Inside.
Yeah.
You made a line that was 1 inch.
Yeah. Okay, so
Wait, how do you know where the line, like, how do you make the line from the edge 1.5 inches inwards?
well, you do just type L, enter, and then you hover over the corner to snap to it, and then you track off of that, and then just type 1.5 enter, and it'll start at 1.5 inches that direction. It's called object snap tracking. Okay, so I want to probably divide this area into thirds. So that's going to be, it's 1.5 inches. So 1/2 inch sections. So I'll do 0.5 to there. And I'll do another one to there. Okay, that's good for now. So now I need to start putting in some labels here for what this stuff is. And I want the labels to be just in the top corners if I flip it over and looked at it.
For your, like, rectangle, like the overall one, is it horizontal going 10 inches or horizontal going 10 inches or vertical? So I feel like mine is standing up, but yours looks like
Yeah,
it's
so I'm laying it out in what we would call, you know, landscape view. Okay, so if this is for 8.5 by 11, you know, so the 10-inch side would be on the X. Okay. But
Can I just rotate my box if I switch my X on?
yeah, that's fine. But the stuff you're going to do following along, this is not going to be the real thing. Like, you're going to do the real thing as part of the homework, okay? So don't feel like you got to get this perfectly right while you're following along with me, okay? Because you're going to do this, you're going to start over on this, okay? When you go to do it right. So the main thing is to just kind of try the commands I'm doing and see if you run into any trouble with any of that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some text styles, okay? And I will make a title block, small label, and this one I'll just do, I like that, I'll do an Arial regular, I think that's fine. The text height is going to be pretty small. If this is, like if those are 1/2 inch, and I just want a little label right here in the little corner, that's going to be like, I don't know, like 0.1 of an inch. We'll see what that looks like. And the angle here, I'm going to go ahead and flip it 90 degrees so that it'll go vertically. Okay, so I'll apply that. Value not within range. Oh. Oh, that's sorry. That's like a tilt angle. We'll do the rotation later. Leave that 0. Okay, so now I will make another style called title block large label. And this one will be probably like, well, if that's 0.75, I'll do that. I want to fill that area, so that'll probably be like 0.6 maybe. You can fix all of this later if you don't like it, okay? And I'm not putting a ton of thought into the fonts here. I'm just guessing. And then I'm going to do a medium label, title block medium label, which that one will have to fit into these thirds, and those are 1/2 inch. So if it's going to fill that up, then it's probably going to be like 0.4. Okay. So now I can start putting some stuff in here. So I'm going to do a text, and I'll stick it right there for now. Rotation angle, we'll leave it at 0 for now. I'm going to call this drawing number. And let's go ahead and apply the text style. So I want the title block small label. And then I will rotate it 90 degrees. And, you know, I want to, like, you need to get your justification here right. I think I want this to be, like, top left, so I have that kind of insertion point. So let me scoot it out of the way for a sec, and I'm going to give myself some construction lines that are like I just want some little areas here where I can get a sense of margins. There we go. Now I can take this and I will snap it to that spot. Okay, and I'm going to leave those in there because I might need those in a minute.
You just made it a gap. You didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and the gap I used was like 0.03. I just kind of eyeballed it. Okay, so that gives me that one. I'll go ahead and repeat that here. Do another little X line because I'll need that one here in a sec. And I'll do one here. Just giving myself, oops, that's not the right thing. There. Okay. So I'll do that, and then I would repeat this for the different kinds of things. So I could take this thing now and stick it here, and I would call this drawing, or I could just call it title. Okay, and that would be like, I'd put system diagram or loudspeaker plot there. And then I'll put one down here, and this one will be called like the name of the production. So that's where we put a little night music or whatever. Okay, you get the idea? So now we need to put in the things that'll give me those prompts. Okay, and this will be what's called an attribute. Okay, so I'm going to type ATT, which is for an attribute definition. So ATT enter. It says, okay. What are we doing here? And the attribute has a tag, a prompt, and a default. The tag is just like, what we're calling this particular attribute. So I will call this title. The prompt is production title, question mark. Default, or no, title would be drawing title. Production will be a different thing. So, sorry, I hit enter. I wasn't supposed to. Okay, so this will be title, drawing title, question mark. Default value, this is like, if you do nothing else, what will this be called? what text will it be here? So I will say default is system diagram, because that's what I do the most of. Okay? And then you need to pick a text style for this, which this is going to be the medium label, because I'm going to put it in that mediums box. Okay, justification is going to be we're going to do fit. Okay, the reason we're going to do fit is I don't ever know how long the name of this drawing is going to be, but I never want it to go outside of the box that I've drawn for it. Okay, so we're going to do fit, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. And we'll hit save. Okay, where is the first endpoint? So it's going to be, we'll start here at this bottom corner here, and the second endpoint will be there. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to like take this and move it up a little bit to give me some padding. Okay. And right now it just says title because that's what it is, but that'll get populated later. And then let's get into the ones that are automatic. Two things that should probably be definitely on your title block is the plot date. And that is the date when the piece of paper was generated or the PDF was generated. That'll help you keep track of versioning. So if you end up like revising this and putting out a new one, like the title block should always have, this was the day that this piece of paper came out of the printer. Or this is the day that this PDF file was like drawn, okay? So let's do one of those. So this will be another attribute, and the tag for this will be plot date. Prompt is no prompt. Well, you could put a prompt, I guess. Plot date, question mark. Now the default value, this is where, for the default value, you're going to use what's called a field. And a field is like a database, thing. So AutoCAD has a built-in database, all kinds of interesting information in it. You can access it by clicking this little button next to the default. Here's all the things. So let's look for date and time. And look, plot date. So I found plot date, and you can figure out like what form you want this date to be. So right now it's defaulting to month, day, year, but there's, you could just do like this, March 7th, 2004, whatever. I'm just going to do month, date, year, just like that with slashes, and hit choose, and that'll put that in there. The text style is going to be the medium label. Justification will also be fit. It says, where do you want to put that? I'm going to put it over here. Plot date. Now the other thing you're going to want to be careful of with these fit things is you'll want to squish them just a little bit, because if you just do corner to corner, then it'll touch, right? So you're going to want to just kind of grab this and pull it back a little bit so that it's fitting.
Could you just, if you had X lines there, add them?
You could, yeah. That would work as well.
I don't think I really understand the difference between the tag and the prompt.
The tag is what AutoCAD is going to call this thing. The prompt is what you're going to ask yourself, or what you want AutoCAD to ask you when it wants to know what information you want to have in there. Okay? The default value is if you decide not to answer the question, AutoCAD needs to know what to put there anyway, right? So, so the next one you'll do is the other one you need to have is the file name. The name of the DWG file. So that when you get this piece of paper come out and or on the PDF, and people like, hey, we need to get this file. Where'd this come from? Well, the name of the file was this. Let's go search for that file name, and we'll find that DWG. You should have that file name in there, and you'll see I have that on my title block. Okay. So this will be this tag will be file name. Tags have to be all one word, no spaces, no special characters, unique. You can't, each tag needs to have a unique name. Prompt is file name question mark, and this will also be a field. So we'll click the little button next to default, and probably going to be in document, file name. And you can pick a format for this too. You want uppercase, lowercase, first capital, I'll just say none. Now your options are path and file name, or just file name only. Path and file name will be the full path to the file on your computer. So it will be like name of hard drive / users / JSON / documents / AutoCAD / the whole thing. If you only ever use one computer and you are terrible about keeping track of where your stuff is, then I can see where that could be helpful. But probably the file name only is all you really need. And I would go ahead and say yes, display the file extension, just so it's clear that this is a DWG file. So we'll put that in there. Same thing. We'll stick this.
Did you fit for it, or just, was there just a
Oh, I forgot. Let's see. Let's see, it's already asking me. I'll have to do it down here. Justify would need to be fit as well, yes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and squish this here. All right, you see what I'm doing? Now let me do the cooking show, and I'll skip straight to the end here. Here is my 11 by 17 title block. Now look, what I've done is once I got this all done, I got rid of the big rectangle. Okay, and I just rectangled around the thing that was the big rectangle was just helping you know how big to draw this thing. I got rid of the big rectangle, then moved the whole thing so that the top, the corner of it was sitting at 0, 0. And that's very important, because that way when you insert it as a block and click the mouse where you want it to go, it'll do it based on that location. Okay? So that's my 11 by 17 one. You're going to make an 8.5 by 11 and a 24 by 36 one. Okay, that'll fit on that size of page. And so if you look here, I've got all my attributes. That's my date, that's my file name, the name of the person who drafted it. I did a school name. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I did the name of the designer for the show, so on and so forth. For the drawing number, I did one of however many it's going to be. I think that's a good idea. And both of these are attributes. So like if I click on one of them, I get the prompt. What is the drawing number? If I click on this one down here, I get how many drawings are there. Okay. Now, none of that matters until you insert it. Okay. So here's what happens. I'm going to close this. And now, here I am in my system, my Little Night Music system diagram. And I can make myself a new layout. And we'll go to page setup. We'll get this plotter. And I want to do tabloid, display plot styles. There we go. And now I go to insert block. You can get that also over here in this tab. Or no. There it is, that one. Now, because I've already inserted this, this border, it's already in there. I can use it again now. But to get it, you really just open this up. If you haven't already inserted it, you just click this little button, and you go find it, and you add it. And then what happens is, when you put it in there, right now I'll get it, and I'll stick it in there. And we'll go ahead and position it where I want it. And yes, you can get very specific about the positioning, and you should. Okay? And then when you double click on it, it gives you all of this, right? And now you can put in all the values for everything. So what's the drawing number 1 of 25? The title of the drawing, system diagram.
How did you get the like cute little box that just had them all listed out?
That had them all like this?
It was like, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, earlier it was like a pop-up that had.
Oh, yeah. So, I believe.
Not that it really matters, but it was nice.
Yeah, the first time I inserted it, I got that. But since I put it in here, let me do this. There. If I take it like that, if I just double click on it in the block library and then plop it there, then it comes up like that. Okay.
So after you do it the first time, that will come up.
Yeah, well, no, it's because what I did is I drug it straight from here. But if you just double click on it and then pull it in there and pop it, then it'll bring that up. Okay. Now here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to your template file. And in your template file, let's see do I have a template file I can show you? I probably have somebody else's from somewhere, right? I don't remember. Oh yeah, all right. So I'll use Brooks' template. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So oh no, give me the drawing too. This is submissions 2. All right, so I'm going to open it directly as a DWT. Let me go to downloads. There we go. I will do Brooks. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to your layouts, okay? And you're going to make yourself a 8.5 by 11 layout, an 11 by 17 layout, and a 24 by 36 layout, okay? And you are going to, by default, I'll go in here and I will say, all right, this will be my 11 by 17 layout. Now, if you need a plotter to use, the one you're going to use the most is this DWG to PDF. Okay, that PC3. That's a plotter file, configuration file. And the DWG to PDF printer will take this layout and save it to a PDF file. Okay, which is what you're going to do most of the time in your life. So you pull that up, and now you can go ahead and you can probably find that 11 by 17. Be careful about these full bleed things, because like if I pull up 11 by 17 full bleed, it doesn't give you any sense of margin, because it's assuming that you can go all the way to the edge, which, you know, in a PDF file, you can. But if you ever want to like take that PDF and print the PDF, that's going to get you in trouble. So you're going to want to go up to here and get the regular ANSI-B, and it'll give you then some margins that might be more meaningful. So I will display with plot styles. This one I'll say is monochrome, and there it is. And now you're going to go ahead and bring in your border, okay, or your title block. And then what will happen is now that's going to be in your template, which means if you now make all of your things based on your template, then that border will automatically be in your block library, and it'll move, and you can like put it in there because it'll be already added as a thing. Okay, so you go in here to system documentation, and let's see, assignment 5. There's my border. I will stick it in here. There it goes, and I'll just leave all the defaults as is right now, and then it'll be in my. Then I'll save my template, and it'll be in there. Right now, it'll be in my block library, and I'm good to go. And then it moves. Hopefully, you'll have it with you all the time. That makes sense. So, what I want you to do now is I want you to make. Well, let's review what I'm going to ask you to do. So, I want you to create these 3 dynamic title blocks. Dynamic means like they have those attributes that can change, okay? And I want you to plot your system diagram and your loudspeaker plot assignment. So the system diagram was the one that actually you did all the labels for and you know, drew the whole thing, right? And so do that and the loudspeaker plot. So you'll do all the section and both ground plans in 3 separate. So you're ultimately going to do 4 things, okay? So you'll do 3 title blocks, 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, 24 by 36. And I will have here like what should be in the title block. You are then going to turn in 5 different files, a new copy of your DWT file that has these title blocks in them, inserted into paper space, not model space, paper space, like onto an actual layout. And then I want the 3 separate DWG files of your title blocks. And then I want a PDF file containing the plots with your title block on them of the system diagram from assignment 3 and all 3 loudspeaker plots from assignment 4. You can decide the PDF size as far as what size of paper you want it to be, but the USIDT guidelines say that your text should have a minimum height of 330 seconds. And I tried putting this on 11 by 17, and it was not good, right? It was too small. So you might want to think about that. You put it whatever size you need it to be. So let me show you how you actually do the PDF. All right. So if I go back to this one, I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to switch my plotter to the DWG to PDF, and we will do 11 by 17 here. I might need to move things around, and that's fine now that I'm on a different size of page. So we'll go ahead and, okay, you see how now I've got less room to work with here? So I'm going to take my viewport and stretch it so it fits inside those margins. Okay, and let's see if I can get it centered a little bit better. There we go. And then I'm going to right-click on here, and I'm going to click Print. So I'm right-clicking on the layout that I'm using. I hit Print, and it says, okay, it's the DWG to PDF, and it's just going to confirm all those settings. And don't click this Save as PDF. You're just going to hit Plot. And it says, where do you want to put this? And I will say, for now, I'll put it on my desktop just so you can see it easily. And there it says it did it. And I should now be able to find it here. There it is, as a PDF in all its glory. Okay. You have access, by the way, through the school for Adobe Creative Cloud, which includes Acrobat Pro, which you should get installed on your computer, because that's going to allow you to merge all these PDF files. So you'd be able to, once you have the 3 separate or the 4 separate files, you can pick the first one and then just drag them in here. So like if I have another one, let me find another PDF file here.
Because each loudspeaker plot will be its own PDF.
Yeah, yep. So,
And for our like drawing numbers, we do like 1 out of 4. Essentially.
yeah. Sounds about right.
Does it matter the order of like the speakers?
Yeah, do what you think. So see, I can just take a PDF, I can drag it in here, and it adds it as a second page, right?
Is this how we should just, it seems like a much easier way to look at a document. Because we were like, in preview, it looks weird. Like,
Yeah, don't use preview. Don't use preview. Use Acrobat. Acrobat's way more better. Okay. All right, that's the basic idea. So what you want to do, the lion's share of this project is making those title blocks. Okay, you're going to make 3 title blocks, and remember, you do this well, you never have to do it again. You can use it forever. So take some time to get it right. You can I've given you some parameters of what information should be in there. You can kind of decide how you want to lay that out, how you want it to look. You know, what you can pick the fonts you want to use. Just keep in mind some of the guidelines I gave you about fonts, like tiny things should not have serifs and stuff like that. You know, make it look professional, make it look like something you would want to show to people in a portfolio. You know, this is, if you want examples, you can go look at, you know, other people's paperwork and stuff. I mean, there's title blocks out on the wall here for like lighting plots and stuff. Like, just go see, like, what are people doing? What looks good? What, you know, you decide how you want to do it. It's yours. Yes.
When we're turning in the DWG files of our title blocks, do you want like the extra rectangle part gone, so it's just the title block?
Right. Yep.
And
I want it,
then-
the one that's ready to be inserted as a block.
Okay, and then just for clarification for the first one that's in our drawing template, with like our other shapes and things, it's not actually on the page, but like if you were to go to blocks to add in, it's there.
It should be both.
So it should
Okay.
be on the page and.
So you want to have 3. You'll want to have 3 layouts. Okay. So layout 1 will be your 8.5 by 11 layout. Layout 2 will be your 11 by 17. Layout 3 will be your 24 by 36, with that border
Oh,
inserted.
with it there.
Yep.
With our like shapes and things.
What do you mean shapes?
Like the like from our template. Like
Oh, you don't need to have like any particular drawing showing up in there. It's just you need to have 3 layouts already set up with that title block there, so that it will keep it. So that when you instantiate a new drawing, it'll pull that title block into it with it. Okay.
So in a new file, not our current template.
No, your current template. I want you to add this to your current template.
Okay, with the 3 different layouts.
Yes.
So instead of your system diagram, it would be our template there.
It would be nothing.
It would be blank, just
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. The
So-
point is to get the title block onto a paper space.
Yes, but if we're doing it in our drawing template, where do our drawings go?
It doesn't matter, because it's just for your template, okay? And then when you use your template to make a new drawing, it creates a new DWG file that has all the stuff that was in your template, all your symbols and model space, but also those layouts that have the title blocks in them. So when it comes time to plot it, you can just pick one of those that already exists, make the viewport, zoom in on the part you want, and it's ready to go.
Okay. I think.
Yeah? Okay.
We'll see next 2 weeks.
Yeah, so you got a couple weeks on this.
You can like check that too, if you go, like
Yeah,
you can see it.
yeah,
If you go.
yeah. Yeah, so like this is yours, so I went ahead and put this in here. So if I save this now,
So, but that's what like
Oh.
we're turning in. Oh, you want us to erase that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you just want it like that, okay?
Okay.
And
that
then-
makes sense.
And then now if I go to your thing, which will be here, see if it works. There you go. So now I've got a blank drawing, right? That is your template, that has all your stuff in it. And I got a layout that has the title block already ready to go. And it's already sitting here in the block library, so I can put it onto new layouts if I want to.
Okay.
Right? So you're not, the point is you don't want to have to go look for this title block every time you're making a new thing. It should already be in your template. You don't have to keep track of that file. Okay, it should be moving with your template.
So you're really just always keeping track of your template?
Yeah.
But then you can open AutoCAD at your template.
Yeah.
You have your template
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Okay. But this is ready to go, so you could just double click on this and you'd get all the prompts. You can change them again. But you could also create a new layout and bring this in and use it again. Right? Okay, so you've got a little bit of time to start working on this. So start working on it, and if you run into problems, I can help you. And again, we got spring break coming up, so you got a little while. If you want to work on it over spring break, you can. I'm not expecting that you will need to. This is not I don't think this is 2 weeks worth of work. I think this is 1 week's worth of work. So you can decide when you're going to do it, but it is due after spring break. Okay? And by the way, I did update Canvas this morning to adjust for the missed class last week. So, all right.